Oh boy, Jak X and the 3 other PS2 games just re-released again, this time for the PS4. Like I said, these games came out on the PS2 and saw an HD remake for the PS3, and now available on the PS4 for digital download. The difference being this time we get Jak X. However, all 4 are on sale individually for a fraction of the cost. It's still cheaper to buy the collection than the games, but since I already own the PS3 collection, I opted in to buy Jak X, which costed me about $15. It's been about 2 weeks since the making of this video, since they came out, and all I can say is I've been having a blast replaying some of my old favorite racing games on the PS2 era, and it's still one of my favorites today. From memory, the re-release has more issues in the PS2 version, but that could be nostalgia clouding how it actually was. I'm going to start with what problems I did have with the game, since there's more good than bad. While I've noticed a lot of the load times have been majorly cut down, it seems like it takes forever when you change vehicles. Again, not as long as the original, but still significant enough to mention. I don't expect instant loading times or anything like that, but the hardware from PS2 to PS4 is such a huge leap forward that it's a tad bit odd for it to load this long. Another thing I've noticed is its graphics. Since it's from the PS2 era, I can forgive it, but when I saw the very large pixels on a lot of the game's surfaces, I couldn't help but let out a laugh. What was probably slightly noticeable back then has been blown up to a much larger scale, so when I put my finger on the TV and what I think was a pixel back then is now the size of my pinky, I can't help but think, but wow, you haven't aged very well graphically, have you? I say this, but as you can clearly see by the video in front of you, that during gameplay it still looks very impressive for a game made back in 2005. And the pixels that I was talking about were not noticeable when you're actually racing. However, I did notice that I would either go too fast or turn too quick for the blue jet visual to keep up with the back of my car, resulting in some very interesting placements. In fact, you can probably see this now in the video. And my biggest complaint, the lag. Oh my god, this game has a lot of lag. From the music slowing down significantly to it running about 15 frames a second, and those were just from single player. When I had my brother over to do split screen, it was more frequent to the point of the game becoming unplayable and having to quit the race. Maybe you can see it in the video, hopefully, but I don't think it gets as slow as split screen does, and while it seems to be only a large amount of objects on screen to cause this shocker, right? Staying away from excessive spamming from the weapons, items, and boost buttons, this issue almost is non-existent. But it's a death race, so I continuously found myself pressing all these buttons plus gas and steering, and while in first place where I don't have to shoot, it ran well, but the fact that it feels like it runs more poorly than on the original console kinda sounds like there wasn't really any love going into this port. It was just added to finally give the fanboys on the PS forums a game to shut up about. Now that I got that little rant out of the way, I can talk about the goods, the reason why I rebought this game in the first place. Like I've said, I remember playing this game when I was younger and having a blast. It was, and still is, one of my favorite games to this day. From its action-packed combat, this game left me on the edge of my chair in every race, having to use all my concentration, skill, strategic weapons, and item usage to narrowly escape a loss. I continuously found myself winning every race, but not by much. The game shows you a timer of all the other racers along with yourself, and I would normally find myself winning only by a few milliseconds. And the other racers are not far behind, and because of this I would occasionally choke at the very end of the race, either by crashing into a wall or the enemy having a weapon that can kill me right at the end. Because of this I found myself getting silver or bronze, but that's not to say that the race was dull up until then. Oh no, that's far from it. When you start a race you have the opportunity to start with a full boost gauge to fly out of the gate, and the way you get this is by hitting the gas, and I think the boost as well, right as the light turns green, kinda like Mario Kart, but I haven't noticed any kind of burnouts. And the tracks you usually get a row of pickups right from the start, normally red, blue, or yellow eco. The red eco is back weapons. They range from mines, turrets, oil slicks, and more defensive abilities like shields. Using a back weapon while you're locked on will deflect the missile except for one type. Yellow eco is front weapons. They are your missiles, machine guns, grenade launchers, supernovas, and lightning orbs. Lightning orb is the equivalent to a blue shell, only going after the person at first, and it cannot be deflected, while a supernova will kill everyone in front of you, meaning if you are in last place you'll destroy everyone. I've only seen people around 5th place get this item, but for the lightning orb I've got it while I was in first, and I think it goes around the whole track before it gets its job done. Blue eco is for your boost gauge, which is just kinda nos. I found myself holding down this trigger button the whole time, even when I didn't have any in my tank. While picking up blue eco is useful for filling about a quarter of your bar, you can do power slides and get some hang time to fill the meter as well, which I found myself doing for the majority of the time. Boosting on a corner on a power slide usually fills up the tank, which is great since boosting would normally last you up until the next turn. And from there you would repeat the process, but the car's turning mechanics have a slight bit odd feeling to them. When you're going slow, the cars have an intense turning speed, like turning on a dime type of turning. But when you're going fast, turning is much more stiff, and it feels like the track was made for that. While there are a few sharp turns on the track, the majority are long drifting ones, which is great if you like to boost and get boost back. However, the ground is normally not flat and is quite bumpy, especially on the jungle and desert track. Doing a drift on these kind of surfaces would sometimes cause me to roll over, or I would get some air and slam the side of my car into a wall, dealing major damage. With that being said, the tracks are surprisingly big, especially for a PS2 game. The average length for a 2-lap course is about 5 minutes, and each course has a variation of itself. And while racing, the background and everything going by on the screen looks pretty solid. I think the textures were made to be viewed going at a high speed, because when I would come to a full stop, I did notice everything kind of looking more stretched out than intended. That probably helped makes the game look like we're going faster than we actually are, without making the cars go too fast, and it does a very good job doing so. And circuit races are not what all this game has to offer, my friends. Oh no, this game has a plethora of different type of game modes you can try out. Anything ranging from Precursor Dash to Death Race to Time Attack, or even some arena modes such as Sport Kill and Capture the Artifact. Some of them are pretty easy to identify what they are, some of them are not so much. Like Precursor Dash, which is a game mode that replaces all the items and collectibles you can pick up in a race with these little precursors, which give you infinite boost, and you have to fill up a meter with your boost in order to shoot it off as a missile. And each one you get off gives you a point, and the missile has the chance of hitting someone to knock off their orb that they're charging and kind of just screw them over. However, every time you get a charge, it also gives you a mine that will let you deflect the orb out of its way. And while Death Race may seem like it's the standard circuit, it actually isn't. Death Race lets you race by yourself with a bunch of random colorized vehicles that you're meant to shoot down by the hundreds. Different colors are worth different points, like green is worth 1 and blues are worth 2. I forgot to mention in the Precursor Dash, you do get double points after completing a lap, as every other event besides Circuit gives you this bonus as well. Then you have your standard Time Attack, which is do 2 laps under the certain amount of time, but this time there are little freezies that you can hit that will stop the time for a certain amount of time. The easier ones are in plain road, while the harder ones are more maneuverable but are worth it in the end if you can get to them without any trouble. Then we have your head-on collision event, which is essentially Death Race just kind of reversed. Instead of having weapons to shoot down your targets, you have to ram into them, meaning that the cars are coming towards you. Normally this isn't a problem, and the cars don't actually damage your car, but it does make you lose control of your vehicle, causing you to wreck and possibly lose a little bit of a combo that you had going, which you do get. If you're able to kill enough of them in a row, you do stack up a combo point, which eventually does get added to your points. That's about covering it for most of the track-based events. Now onto the arena-based events. There are different types of arenas, yes, and different types of events for them. One of them is known as a sports hunt, which you hunt some kind of robotic animal or actual living animal in an event to get the most points. These animals do either fight back or run away, and you are with a bunch of other people that can kill you and more likely will if you get in their way. Another mode is essentially deathmatch, where you have to kill the other racers in the arena. Items are scattered all around the map, and it's your job to kill as many enemy players as possible. It is a deathmatch after all. The only hard part is that they're doing the same thing, and it's sometimes quite hard to find other players, except for when the AI kind of wigs out and likes to group everyone together without any weapons, so they're kind of just stuck going in a circle shooting each other with the weakest weapon they have. It's kind of problematic, but when you come in with some of the best weapons like a grenade launcher or the rockets, you tend to get a lot of points from them. The other event that I would like to talk about is the Artifact Dash, which is essentially go to the spot, pick up the thing, and the most points at the end of it all wins. This also has a hard cap about 15 or 10, but essentially what it is just when you pick up one, a new one spawns on the map and you have to go pick it up. And again, you are with other people, so they can steal it from you. And it is annoying when you're racing to one and all of a sudden you see another player come in and get it. It's not a big issue, but it is one of the, at least the ones I found to be more annoying to do. While editing this video, I did notice I did forget to mention one type of eco, which is the Dark Eco, and this is the main reason why you don't want to crash and, get eliminated. Dark Eco essentially gives you stronger weapons and I believe, faster vehicle. What Dark Eco essentially does, it upgrades all your weapons to the next tier, 2 missiles become 4, the grenades become more deadlier, and it's very useful. The way you get Dark Eco is you have to either kill or do some crazy insane stunts, and you have a little bar above your health bar that fills up with Dark Eco. And it's kind of important because when you're doing deathmatch or anything like that, it's very important to have this because it makes just killing everything a lot easier. That is about all I'm going to talk about for this video. I'm not going to go into any of the campaign because that would be spoiler territory. However, I would recommend this game if you are looking for a racing game and a combat racing game at best. It is a very good game and it still holds up even after about 12 years later. Do keep in mind that this is a Jak X A game, so it is made by Naughty Dog, which is a PlayStation exclusive company at this point. So if you have Xbox or even PC, unfortunately you can't buy it right now, but if you do have a PlayStation 4 or even a PS2 at this point, you can probably find that game at a pawn shop for $1. It is on the PSN for like $15 right now, and I would recommend getting it if you've never played it or if you are looking for one of those kind of games. It is very good. I give it a thumbs up. It still holds up, even if it's not graphically. Gameplay wise, it's still a fantastic game. But that is going to do it for me today, guys. Hopefully I can start making more videos, and this was kind of fun for me. So go ahead and keep looking for my videos in the future. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. I hopefully will get a better setup in the future, but thanks for all watching, and I'll see you next time.